Hi guys, I'm back and I wanted to do a separate video on this because this is something that I've continued to be fascinated over or with, and it's the Titan submersible. Now I've always been a Titanic um, freak, I guess, and and I even did a few years back. I think in 2020 I did a reading um, on the Titanic, and it showed why it sank, and it was several factors. There was fire in the boiler room that compromised the metal. So when it did strike an iceberg, the metal was weak, and that's why it was supposed to have all these compartments that would hold the water in should it, hit an iceberg or have some sort of flooding, whatnot. The metal was compromised, so it actually sank faster because of this. So, and I'm sure it had other factors. The other thing was they ignored the iceberg warnings. And because there had been a full moon and now they were in the new moon, this is what the card showed me. Because they were in the new moon phase where there was dark, they wouldn't be able to see the icebergs. Now, the full moon before had, because gravity had raised the tides and moved some of the icebergs in different places. So there was all these factors. But probably the biggest factor was that they were foolhardy and wanted to get to New York faster, and not, instead of accepting safety and doing the safe thing, because it was unsinkable, they played God, remember? They laughed in the face of fate and played God. Then, they had iceberg and all that stuff they could have avoided. They just, a slower speed, they could have avoided it or hit less or hit on right in front of it and not had the damage that they had, etc., etc. It was all just a bad set of circumstances, fate, and bad decisions, kind of like Stockton Rush. The parallels are incredible. And that's something, when I did that first reading, it was Monday morning, and you could see in the video I'm sitting in bed and I have coffee and it's really early, and I had just been reading the news about it, didn't know many details, only that it was missing. And so I thought, I'll do a reading on this. I have to tell you, that was probably, via spirit, the most accurate reading I've ever done, or at least I feel that way. It's amazing what I got in that reading and how accurate, again, and how accurate it was. I just knew they were gone. All I could feel was that there was peace and they were gone. There was nothing there. And the other thing was that they had made foolhardy decisions, that something had happened to the submersible that compromised it, like the weather, putting it in choppy water with bad weather. Of course, now we know, like the Titanic, it had been compromised from beforehand. The components that made it up, what did they call? I can't even remember. The hole and all of that, and whatever. The material they used and also damage from other trips had compromised it. And now I know and I said in that reading, they never reached the Titanic. They never saw it, they never reached it. And I felt like it had just imploded. Now, I heard a transcript today that showed that they had gone down too fast, just like the Titanic. And that probably added to the stress on the Titan. I feel like Stockton Rush was doing a Captain Smith Ismay thing, just like I said, where they were rushing the process. Let's get down, let's make the news. It's Father's Day, we got a father and son on here, and we're going to get down there fast and make the news and then get back up. And I really feel like he thought he was invincible. And I heard the word devil's advocate. See, I don't feel like all this judgment toward him, just that he was just so foolhardy and he made really bad decisions. And maybe he had ADHD. He just wasn't, his brain wasn't settled, not thinking rationally, not making wise decisions. And other people's precious lives were in his hands, and he took too many. And then he did things like he would say, if you hear weird noises, put on your earphones and listen to music. That's like a red flag. So I heard the transcript, and the transcript was that they were going down too fast, and up on the ship, the communicating with them, because they had constant communication, they said, are you guys okay? Are you sure you should be going down that fast? And he's like, everything's fine. And then a little bit later, minutes on, he says, oh no, we're hearing some noises. And they're like, are you okay? Do you want to ascend? And in a few minutes he said, yeah, we're going to drop weights. We're going to ascend. Apparently the thrusters didn't work. They weren't ascending as fast as they were supposed to be. And they kept hearing these noises, which probably was water getting into the back and going in. And that was their last transcript. They imploded. They never did see the Titanic. They never saw the wreck. They probably were close, but they didn't see it, and that's what Spirit showed me. It's just amazing. It's just like the Titanic, and now we have a wreck next to a wreck, and both of them did not have to happen. So then the other thing that Spirit told me was, and I remember this very clearly because I've heard other people contest it on, online, is that they said, Spirit told me, this will end these sort of like billionaire club or rich people, affluent trips down to see the Titanic. And I just read today that Ocean Gate is stopping all trips down. I think one reason why Stockton Rush was doing all this, trying to make a big news story, so that he could make money, get more passengers, buy more ships. He probably was worried about the Titan. And he probably wanted money so he could make a Titan 2 and Titan 3. I bet we will find out that he had plans to make more submersibles. He kind of went down on a wing and a prayer, a hope and a prayer that this one would work. One last trip, and then he would be able to make more. But he was foolhardy. Anything else? No, it's just, I'm amazed that Spirit was so clear with me. Really, and I could feel it. And you know what's happened ever since then? I've been obsessed with, more than I ever was, I've been obsessed with the Titanic and news about what happened. I think a lot of why people are fascinated with what happened on the Titan submersible is that we can't comprehend how a body just implodes in like a split millisecond. That there's no pain, that there's no... we just don't know, because it happens before your brain can register pain. It happens that fast. And that there's none. Like when they said last week, when they brought up the parts of the submersible, and they said that human remains were found. Well, Spirit said, like teeth. I'm sorry, but fragments of teeth. And it's really not what you think. I mean, there could be something that lodged in and was survived the implosion, but I doubt it. I mean, there's not much. Anything else? I don't want to be morose. But again, it's one of those things where we can't comprehend, and I really feel that's why everybody's obsessed with it, and why there were so many TikToks. And the other thing is that Amy, it made me start to think about stuff like tornadoes, and gosh, I've just been like, it triggered off this OCD obsession thing in me. I don't know why. I'm probably not the only one. I can't be the only one. And now I'm watching James Cameron go down to the Titanic, and so anyway, thanks for listening. I just wanted to say that, well, do I have any, I mean, if I want to say anything about like premonitions or psychic things to come for the Titan, it's just that Stockton Rush will be found to, unfortunately, has a tainted image for his foolhardy decisions. I feel like he was a reincarnation of Captain Smith. You could see it in his face. It was clear. It's almost like he had this fait accompli where he had to relive his fate. He had a choice. He could have done something, but it's almost like because we strayed from what happened to the lesson of the Titanic, it's almost like he came around to show us once again that greed is not the way to go. Life is life. I once had this song that I wrote called Flesh is Rare Like Gold. And we forget that life is beautiful, life is precious, and money really means nothing. And when you equate people's value to how much money they have, it's, ridiculous. Anything else? I think we'll find out that all of the little things he did, how desperate he was, and this was a gamble. He really did want this last ride to help spur on profits so he could build other submersibles. And I think he was worried. And the other thing, this is what I forgot, is that in one of my readings I said that there was panic before the imploded. Sadly, there was panic. They knew that something bad was going on. But again, they didn't feel the pain, and that's a blessing. So thanks for listening. You guys have a great day. Bye.